too many of them.
All right, everyone. Hey, welcome down this morning here. You know, typically I do these little Google Hangouts where I'm sharing some inspirational stuff in the morning by myself, but I'm very excited today. As you can probably already see, I've got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Rob Fore on the video screen here with me today. And, you know, for those of you that don't know Rob, let me just tell you a little bit about how I first got introduced to Rob, and then how I've come to actually, you know, just soak up information from him and learn a ton from him, and really become a good friend of his over the past few years. I remember years ago I was really big into blogging at the time, which I still am, and doing a lot of keyword research and looking all over Google, and I kept seeing this Rob Fore guy pop up all over, and I hadn't met him in person, hadn't chatted with him, didn't know who he was, didn't know anything about him, but all the keywords that I was searching for, there Rob Fore would pop up way above me, and I could never compete with him. I could never beat him. I never beat him on anything, and finally one day I figured out who this Rob Fore guy was, and the bottom line is the guy's an absolute SEO wizard, a marketing genius, a marketing guru, and you know, I don't know if we're going to dive too much into that whole topic of SEO today, but what we are going to talk about is success and success principles, and I'm going to chat with Rob because, you know, just recently in one of the programs that he is involved in, the Empower Network, which you may or may not have heard of. In this particular program, I believe, Rob, you hit $40,000 last month with this program, and so I want to learn a little bit about that today, and how you've been able to do that over the past 12 months. And you know, with that, man, thank you for being here, and if you wouldn't mind just sharing with everyone a little bit of your background so they get to know you.
Yeah, Jordan. Well, hey, thanks so much for that introduction. I had to look around and go, who the heck is he talking about? You know what? It was, yeah, I don't know how it happened or when it happened, but somewhere along the line we turned into a search engine internet marketing geek. You know, Lisa and I, my wife, who's here, but she's afraid to get on camera, we've been married for, I think, 31 years now. Now, over our life, you know, we've both had jobs. We've both hated our job. You know, it's like if they're paying you 20 bucks an hour, you're thinking, boy, they must be making 30 or 40 bucks an hour. How is that right? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so we started doing building businesses very young in our lives. You know, we're 20, 22 years old. We're trying to run classified ads in the newspaper or doing whatever we did. So most of our business ventures, you know, some worked, some didn't work, and eventually, I think around 1996, 98, we found the internet and just started doing what people were telling us to do, you know. And I realized very early on that the internet runs on search, and behind every search is a person like you. You know, like just the other day, I went to our accountant, and we're making. Let me show you something. We were talking about Empower Network, and Empower Network has been sending me these checks. You know, these big old monster checks, you know. And so we go to our accountant, and the accountant says, well, oh my gosh, you need to start spending some money, otherwise you're going to have a tax problem. So I go to the internet, and Lisa and I were talking, and it's like, well, what the heck do we buy? You know, we don't need nothing. You only need a couple of those checks, and you don't need nothing anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We paid off our house. We're completely debt-free. So we're sitting there going, okay, well, what do we do? So I decided to buy a $5,000 video camera. You know, I saw David Wood has got this big old fancy thing. So I get on the internet and I type in expensive video camera. See, I started with search, and then I narrowed down the search to specific types of cameras, high definition cameras and TV production cameras and things like that. And within an hour and a half, I whipped out my credit card and I bought this $5,000 camera and lighting and microphones and all this stuff. So the whole internet runs on search. So my thought was, well, why not be the instead of the person being the person in line at the cash register, why don't I become the person behind the cash register and let them come to me and just pay me? And it's worked well. So
Very
Ta-da!
cool. Very cool. You know that's absolutely brilliant, Rob. And one of the things you said a little bit earlier, which really I want to have you hit on just a little bit more, maybe go a little bit deeper into, is you said when you got on the internet, you started paying attention and listening to what other people were already doing and just kind of followed their lead.
Well, yeah, my experience for me personally, maybe this isn't true for you or everybody else that's on the call, but I'm kind of an idiot. No, left to my own devices, left to my own thinking, my thinking got me to where I was. And if where I wasn't necessarily where I wanted to be, I was too broke, too stressed out, didn't have any time to do anything, didn't have a life, I'm watching TV all day, then my thinking got me there. So my thought was, well, instead of me thinking, why don't I go to somebody like you who's producing the result I want and just copy you? Monkey see, monkey do marketing. It's like, what do you do every day? I get up and drink coffee. All right, well, here's my coffee. Now what do? I sit down in front of my computer and I wiggle it. Okay, I'm going to sit down in front of my computer and wiggle it. And I would literally left my ego at the door. Instead of thinking I knew so much, I just did what the leaders were telling me to do, even if that meant doing something that was uncomfortable, even if that meant learning something I didn't know. So obviously, if I don't know what you do and you teach me, I'm going to be way slower at it. Mm-hmm. But eventually, if I keep doing it, I'll get better, I'll get faster, I'll produce a bigger result, and eventually, I should match your result. To me, it just seemed the easiest way to do it. Versus trying to reinvent the wheel and make stuff up. For me, it's never worked. I'm kind of stuck on stupid that way.
Right. Now, on that same token, one of the things that I know a lot of people struggle with, Rob, is that they see what someone like you is doing, a leader, and they say, well, Rob's doing that, so I need to learn every little detail of it before I can even begin implementing that, before I can write my first blog post or put my first video up or whatever the case may be, whatever they're doing. I have to perfect everything first, so before I get into action. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah,
I mean, have you ever done things where you just got into it without knowing what you were doing?
Almost everything I do, I just get in and start. Here's the lesson I learned, and I learned this a few years ago. I bought this car, Prius hybrid. It's half electric, half gas. It was the first car I had that had a GPS system. You give it the address, you give it a destination where you want to go. And so you put in the address and it tells you where to go. But what I learned is it will not tell you where to go. It will not course correct unless you're in motion. If you're just sitting there, it doesn't tell you anything. But if you just get in motion, even if you're going the complete wrong direction, it will give you course correction. It's the same thing when we market. If we just sit there and we stay in the books, we stay in the videos, we stay in the training libraries, but we don't do anything, how are you ever going to learn what needs to be done in the little tiny tweaks that make it work? You have to get in and do it. So just the other day, I bought this new software thing that lets me do little cartoon videos. Now, I'm not a graphic-oriented type of guy. I don't know what's pretty. I don't know any of that stuff. So I just get in and I just start making these stupid little videos. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But just this morning, I completed my 5th video. And guess what? The 5th one is way better than the first one was. You know what I mean? You just get in and go. And plus, what I found, and I think this is important for everybody, especially if you're just getting started, there was so much information. I mean, we could talk about SEO, search engine optimization. We could talk about paid traffic and solo ads and pay-per-click and pay-per-view and Facebook promoted videos and YouTube. I mean, it's just so much stuff.
Right.
What I encourage people to do is spend 7 to 10 days to try to get a overview, a big picture of maybe 6 or 7 different marketing methods. Then, just so that you know what's available. Then, based on your time, your talent, your energy, and maybe your budget, pick one way. You don't have to know how to do any of them, but just pick one way that kind of resonates with you. and then stick with that one way for 90 days. Just put the blinders on. Don't read any more emails. Don't join anything. Just stick with that one way. And that will eliminate a lot of the confusion, and you can focus and just go get good at it. So in 30 days, for the next 30 days for me personally, I'm going to be focusing on these stupid little cartoon videos. And I guarantee at the end of 30 days, well, maybe not, but I should be able to produce really good videos.
Yeah. But at the end of 90 days, you'll definitely be able to produce some really good videos.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So it's a matter of I see a lot of people kind of get stuck. There's an old saying, what was it? Paralysis by analysis. Stop it. Give yourself a time limit, 7 days to go feast at the banquet table of learning, and then pick that one way and just go gorge yourself. Right,
and just get into action mode and understand that. Understand that after 90 days of just, I like what Will Smith said, a video of his I used to watch. He said, mastery comes after only a certain amount of time of just beating on your craft over and over and over again. Repetition is the key to becoming better at it and understanding why different things work and happen.
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, there's money in the mundane. There really is. There's money in the mundane, doing the same thing again and again and again, so you get better at it.
Right. And really, one of the biggest things, is having faith in the fact that it's going to work, because of the fact that someone like yourself who's making $40,000 a month, or like David Wood, I just saw the other day, him and David are making about $10,000 a day, roughly, probably a little more by now, because that video's like.
That's nuts.
It's amazing, and so having blind faith and believing that what they're teaching is working, right? I mean, even if you don't understand why it's working, doing the action steps and understanding that you're going to get better by the time 90 days rolls around, by the time 180 days rolls around, depending on where you are when you start and what kind of skill sets you already have. So let's dive a little bit more into Empower, Rob, and really, I mean, why did you get involved in the beginning?
I really got involved in the beginning. It's kind of a funny story, but I got involved because of David Wood. I had joined another lead generation branding platform probably about 2.5 years ago, and David Wood was the #1 producer there. And he was my first model. It's like, well, if he's doing that, if he's cranking out $20,000 a month on this program, let me just copy what he does. And it's funny what you said. You don't have to understand. See, I didn't understand. He would put these little social media icons on his blog. I don't know why. I didn't understand, but I tracked them down and I added them to my blog because I'm copying. See, that's what I mean by leaving my ego at the door. I don't need to know why. I just need to know what they're doing and do the same thing. Well, I followed his model for about a year and become the #2 producer in this particular company. I figured, well, the kid knows what he's talking about. He may look weird, he may talk crazy, but he's a brilliant marketer, and he's making me money. I just do what he says to do, and I make money. So when he launched Empower Network, I was one of the first guys in. It's like, here's my money, let's do it. And then here's the funny part, is about 2 weeks later, I sent him an email, and I said, you know what, don't cash my check. I'm out. I don't want to do it. Because I let my ego get in the way. I heard what their intention was, and I didn't get it. And I said, you know what, I don't want to risk my reputation. I'm out. Don't cash my check. And so I sent him an email, right, or a Skype or something. So he calls me on the phone, which is very rare. David rarely ever calls anybody. He calls me. He says, Rob, everybody that's on your list is probably on my list. So one of us is going to make $150,000 in the next 6 months from that list. Should that be me, or do you want it to be you?
Nice.
So it's like, you know what, Dave, just go ahead and cash that check. Let me leave my ego at the door. So I signed up originally because like you said, I had faith in David. I had faith in my leader. Just like the people who have come to know you, like you, trust you, watched you. I mean, you're a top producer in like 6 different programs. So why not trust the guy who's trustworthy, and just do what they say to do, whether we get it or not. Because I didn't get it. I mean, in the beginning, honestly, I looked at it and said, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't want to do it. And thankfully I did, because it's been life-changing.
Yeah, yeah. So share a little bit deeper over the past over the past year, 13 months or so, maybe a little bit longer. What is it that you've done? What is it that you do on a regular basis to hit these income levels that you've been able to hit? I mean, you're probably pushing what, $500,000 a year at the rate you're going with Empower Network now?
Yeah. We're doing pretty consistently, probably 40,000 a month now. So yeah.
And before you get into that, Rob, I want to throw a quick disclaimer out there that Rob Fore is a marketing magician. Aside from being a magician in real life, he does some pretty cool levitating on stage stuff as well, card tricks and what have you. But the disclaimer is that what Rob achieves is very abnormal, because Rob puts in effort and has skills that he's developed over a long period of time, and really mastered his crafts from following leaders. So don't expect jumping into anything whatsoever that you're going to start making $40,000 a month in your first month, year, at all even. You may or may not, but by following what Rob teaches you here, you're certainly setting yourself up for more success.
Yeah. And keep in mind too, Jordan, I mean, you shared it. We've been marketing Empower Network now for 13 months. Now the first month we didn't make 40,000 a month. We made like 2,000, and then the next month was 3,000, and then 5,000, and it's just grown. In fact, I just did a screenshot the other day. I was showing some people my affiliate earnings from ClickBank. Because a lot of people think, oh, gee, I get online and the money's just fast and easy. I mean, if you listen to the gurus, you think it is. Well, what you don't realize is the 20 years of marketing that we put in to do that. But I was showing my ClickBank. My earnings in ClickBank in 2011 were a little over $7,000. This year, it's about $20,000. Nice. So you look at a 300% increase, but notice that first year was pretty tiny compared to the second year. That's just the way it goes. So you got to give yourself permission to get in, get busy, have faith that it will work, but it's going to be a compounded result. You know, so you might make $100 your first month working 100 hours. The next month you might make 1,000 working 10 hours. You're going to make more and do less. But what I've done with Empower Network is what I do with every other program. I blog. That's what I do. And one of the things that Empower Network teaches is blog about anything, tell people about it, cash your checks. Well, I don't necessarily believe in that philosophy. I believe that you should only blog about what's going to attract people most likely to buy whatever it is you're selling, whether that's software, training, or a business opportunity like Empower Network or your network marketing deal or whatever. And so to me, I don't want to guess, because again, my own thinking, my own guessing isn't that good, you know? So I use tools. So the first question I have, if I'm going to sit down today, like I sat down this morning to do a video. Now, the first thing I say is, what's the purpose of what I'm doing? I'm going to do a blog post, I'm going to do a video, and I sell a bunch of different things. So I pick. I say, okay, well, today I'm going to try to go sell this software, and if they buy it, I'll earn a commission, and then I'll know that they're in the market to make money, and I'll back in them Empower Network. So I have a purpose in mind for whatever I'm doing. Then I say, okay, now here's the question I think that makes all the difference in the world. I say, okay, well, who's the person most likely to buy whatever I'm selling if and when they come to know it exists? I have to assume they don't even know it exists. So who's that person? That tells me the target market. Now, once I have that target market in my mind, then I use keyword research tools, which are free on the internet, to tell me exactly and specifically what they're searching for. Remember, we talked about everything starts on search. So once I know what they're searching for, that then becomes the topic of my blog post or my video. And then we promote it so it shows up on the search engines. So every day when I sit down to move my business forward, I have a decision to make. What do I want to do today? Get a lead, make a sale, what am I going to sell? Who's the person most likely to buy it if they know it exists? What is that person searching for when they have a problem or a challenge that needs to be solved?
Simple.
And I do the same thing every day.
Awesome. Now, I mean, obviously, there's more in depth to that, and we can't really cover that here today. But the 15K formula that's inside Empower Network, that training there, I literally, Rob, I just started going through that thing like 3 days ago, man. Talk about ego in the way. My ego's been in the way for quite a few months now. It's amazing. I got into Empower back when it first launched, day one. I was there on day one. I got in. Made about $16,000 in my first 2 months, which I'd never made in anything before in my life, not in that short time period anyway. So I got in, got busy, and then my ego got in the way. Whatever happened for whatever reason, and I actually thought about quitting for whatever crazy reason. And my girlfriend at the time talked me out of it. Thank you, God, that she did. Thank God that she did. And then something even more amazing. I just kind of sat there for quite a while and did nothing with it, but money just kept flowing in. And some of my team members started producing results, and money just kept flowing in. And over the past 10 months or so, I've made quite a bit of money doing nothing, about $3,000 a month doing absolutely nothing. And you actually, Rob, you came out to the live event, the Mile High Mastermind that me and Adam had out here in Denver. And I remember we were sitting around one night after the event chatting, and you looked me dead in the eye and said, "You're an effing idiot." You said, "You're a freaking idiot, Jordan. Like, why are you not? This thing's making you money doing nothing. Why are you not pushing it and making even more money?" Because it's and so anyways, long story short, I'm got my ego out of the way, and I dug into this 15K formula because, believe it or not, people that are making $15,000 to $30,000 to $40,000 to $150,000 a month are teaching their strategies that they're implementing in there, and a lot of SEO stuff like what Rob's talking about there, exactly how to get this traffic and figure out what to blog about and all that good stuff is really digs deeper inside of there. But that's the simple model right there. And so, so Rob, we've been going for a little bit here, and I don't obviously want to make this like too long of an interview. I know you got to get back to relaxing or playing those video games with your son's brand new $3,000 video game system that you guys just got or whatever. Maybe playing with your new video camera, creating some of those cartoon videos. But just some maybe some thoughts on how people can become more successful. And
I think one of the I don't even know how to say it, but I think life presents its own challenges. Most of us on this call have full-time lives. We have full-time lives, full-time careers, full-time kids, full-time chores, full-time hobbies. And it's very difficult to find the time. I mean, we don't have any spare time. So if you're serious about building a business and taking your financial to the next level, what I've learned over the years is everything that's important to us, we schedule. If my sister was going to get married, I'm going to turn around, write it on the calendar, and schedule my appearance at that wedding because it's important. If you think about your job, you set your alarm clock for 6:30 in the morning. You've scheduled getting up because your job is important. Everything we do that's important, we schedule. Now, let me ask you, have you scheduled time to build your business? Have you scheduled time for personal development, to watch the 15K program, to watch the leaders do their dance? They dance very well. You might as well copy their dance, right? Have you scheduled time to, one, learn? Have you scheduled time to apply? Have you? If you haven't, then I have to ask you, or I have to just basically have that observation, so building a business and securing time and financial freedom for you and your family isn't important then. Your job is more important. You scheduled the alarm clock. You have a favorite TV show on Wednesday, 3 yards from the moon or something, and you schedule every Wednesday you're going to watch your TV show. So you're telling me that's more important than securing time and financial freedom for your family. If that's the case, all I can say is good luck to you. So that's the biggest piece of advice I have is spend some time with yourself. What is it that I really want? What is it that I really want to do? and write down those dreams and goals and aspirations. Go walk 4 hours in the rain and write out your life. What do you want? And get to that point. I mean, dig really, really deep of what you're looking for, that what I call the critical reason why. That's going to compel you out of bed early to put in that extra hour. That's going to compel you to stay up an hour later and put in that extra hour. That's going to compel you to get in, get busy, and get it done. Because if we don't have that, you won't. We just won't do it. You know.
Right, man. Right. You know, it's interesting. I know, Rob, there's some people watching right now that heard you say go walk in the rain for 4 hours and search your soul and get in touch with yourself and find out why you're doing this and what's important and all that good stuff. And in their mind, they're probably thinking, yeah, you know, that's not what I need. I need to learn the step-by-step how-to stuff from you here. And they're going to go back to watching their TV show 3 Yards from the Moon or whatever we just said on Wednesdays instead of putting time into their business. But the bottom line is, what you guys all just heard here, guys and gals, you just heard Rob Fore, who's making $40,000 a month in Empower Network, who's making probably the same in multiple other programs. I don't know what you're making a month, Rob, in everything you do. It's quite a bit of money, and you're successful in everything you touch. You know, you're successful in everything you touch. And so those of you that got to pay attention to what Rob really shared with you here this morning, or whenever you're watching this, go back and listen to it again. Go back and watch it again 3, 4, 5 times. Pay attention to them. And one thing that I shared in the email the other day, if someone who's making that kind of money, and that's the kind of money you want to be making, or no matter what it is in life, if they're more successful than you at making grilled cheese sandwiches, and they tell you the secret is to go stand on top of your roof, howl at the moon in the rain, wearing an inside-out T-shirt, and eating ham sandwiches for 47 minutes a night, if that's what they tell you to do to become successful, and that's what they did, doesn't it make sense that you would go do the same thing that they did, even if it seems hokey to you?
Well, you know, that's so true, Jordan, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because I'm 51 years old. Now, most of my life, until I was 30, 35 years old, I was a self-saboteur, meaning I would get to a certain level of income, and then I'd crash and burn. You know, and I was a good scrapper, so I could go from 0 to hero pretty easy, but then I just wouldn't stay there. I'd lose my balance and crash and burn. And then one day I picked up a book by a guy who was making a multiple 6-figure monthly income. And I read his book, and he said, and here's the funny thing, my life did not change until I walked in the rain for 4 hours, and I wrote in a journal the story of my life as I wanted it to play out. And it was very hard because the journal was wet and my ink pen was wet. You know what I did is I bought a journal, and I live in a desert. So I had to wait almost 7 weeks for it to rain. As soon as it rained, I went out and I walked for 4 hours in the rain and did the journal. I did exactly what they said to do. It's a good point.
What book was that, by the way? I'm curious.
It was called Beach Money by Jordan Adler. Adler.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, very, very easy read. I mean, it's just a kick-butt book. I mean, he's a funny guy. He makes about $250,000 a month in the network marketing business. But he was kind of the same way. He had done like 10 or 11 different network marketing things. I'd never sponsored a person. He spent 10 years failing forward. And then it wasn't until he had actually walked in the rain and figured out what he really wanted as a person, as an individual, and wrote that out. Within the next year, he was making $1 million a year.
Nice, man.
So I hear you, because I did the same thing for years. They would say, well, dreams and goals and aspirations and affirmations, like whatever. Let me get to the good stuff.
Right.
Well, the reality is, when we know our reason why, the how will just happen.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
If we have the why to, the how will just happen.
Right,
so that is the good stuff, and that's where people have to start, and most of us are too impatient.
Right.
You don't want to sit down and look in the mirror and have a conversation with ourselves, because it's pretty scary.
It is scary, man. You know, it certainly is, and that's part of what I love about what we do here is we get to we get to surround ourselves with people like you, Rob, who help us break through, you know, the hurts, habits, hang-ups that we do have in our life to get through and become. It's not about the money; it's about becoming a better person, becoming more successful in areas of life, and then the money just kind of comes with it. So
Yeah. It was a saying from the same company that Jordan's involved with, but they say it's not what we do, it's what we do with who we are.
mm-hmm.
You know, we have to become bigger than, more than, and most of us live lives feeling less than. Now, if that's you on this on the call today, where you have these moments where you feel less than, that has to be your focus. Spend some time personal development. Spend some time with yourself. Get real. Admit your failings. Admit and uncover your strengths, because we all have them, and then just go with it.
Right. Awesome, man. Well, Rob, thank you for today. And for those of you that are watching right now, you've got a very easy decision in front of you right now. There's going to be a button, a link, maybe a couple buttons and a couple links down below. There might even be some right above this video, probably in the sidebar of the blog. Wherever you're watching this, there's going to be buttons, links all over. And you can take a simple action to actually click one of those links, put your email address in on that page, and you can actually start surrounding yourself with the same people that Rob and I have been surrounding ourselves here at Empower Network to, not just make money. I mean, Rob's making a ton of money here, but Rob, would you also say that the people and the mindset training and the personal growth that's involved in this huge community here is pretty phenomenal?
Well, yeah, it's phenomenal. And if you take it into a personal level, and I know everybody's shaking their head going, no, I just want to know how. But they're missing the point. As humans, one of the biggest things we crave, literally crave and desire, is a sense of contribution, which is very hard if we're still in survival mode. How do I pay my bills? Oh, how do I need a new tire. But once you're with these people, some of them are making money, some of them are making a little bit of money, some are making a lot of money, but you realize that the person they are is a person of contribution. They want to share what they know. They want to give you a hand up, not a hand out, but a hand up. That brings such a sense of well-being to us personally. We want you there. We want you part of that group, because we can change the world, one family at a time. When you get your survival taken care of, and all of a sudden you have this I missed the word. Well, let me share this real quick story.
Yeah.
I was I'm still in a network marketing company where I have a team of about 10,000 people. And about 5 years ago, because I'm a top earner in the company, it's kind of obligatory that I go to the company events. And I just didn't feel like going to the event. I didn't have a sense of contribution. We're making money, and some people in our downline were making money, but it's like, is this it? All that work, all that time, and I just got money? And don't get me wrong, money is cool, but I just didn't have a sense of contribution. So I went to the event kicking and screaming, and one of the guys that I had personally sponsored had a little breakout session he was doing with his team. And I went in, and he's showing up on the slide the 3 schools and hospitals he had built in Bolivia from the money he was making from this business. And so all of a sudden, I got that sense of contribution. Did I build the hospitals and schools? Not physically, but yeah, I did when I picked up the phone and called the guy and said, hey, let's check out this business. So what we do here, a lot of times, we don't get to see the value. We don't get to see the families that are being healed, the divorces that we've stopped, the children that brought a smile to their face during the holidays because their parents gave them something cool. We don't get to see all of that, yet all of that is there. So when we start listening to your stories and my stories and David Wood's stories, and we see how each and all of us are touching lives in a different way, I don't know, we can walk taller, we can walk prouder, we can be one of those contributors.
Right. And I mean, that to me is more exciting than anything else. I mean, when you hear, and it might not happen on the first level or the second generation or what have you, but when you understand how many people you're actually affecting in life and causing them to have a better life because of some decisions that you made at one point in time, to take an action, to get involved in something that you didn't know what it was, and to trust some people that you looked up to, and to move forward with them and understand that I'm willing to put in the action. I'm willing to put in the time, and I want to leave this world better than I found it. I want to leave this place better than I found it. I want to help people. And you know, that's absolutely amazing. That's an awesome story.
Well, that's the neat thing, and so that's kind of the amazing thing. You can actually go click the button, like you said, click the button above, to the left, to the right. Click that button, and that one, put in your email, and that one tiny decision could set in motion a life-changing course. It could build hospitals in Bolivia. It could give wheelchairs to disadvantaged children. It can cure cancer. We don't know what that one decision will do. But what we do know is if you don't make that decision, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And if not in Power Network, if not following a proven path, then what? 6 yards from the moon on Wednesday?
Perfect, man. Rob, man, thank you so much for being here this morning, man. It's been an absolute blast. And again, man, I'm grateful for that, the fact that you came down here today and shared all this information. I'm personally going to go back and watch this video myself about 3, 4, 5 times to soak up everything you said here, because repetition, like we stated earlier, is key to soaking in the information, man. So thank you for being here, sharing all these stories, sharing what you do, and you know, for contributing all you do to this great industry, man, because I've learned a ton from you, and I'm excited every time I get a chance to. So again, click that link down below. Make that simple decision right now to at least put in your email address. Go check it out, and you know, get started with us. Come on board with this team, with the proven system that we got going on here. It starts for as little as $25 when you click that button down below. Put in your name, or not even your name, just put in your email address. We don't even need your name right now. Just put in your email address. You'll see what we're talking about. And absolutely, at that point, I look forward to, as David Wood always says, seeing you on the beaches of the world. Awesome, Rob. Thank you so much, my friend.
All right, thanks. Till we meet again. Blessings.